They love to put the crown of victimization upon black people, but only fools wear it. They love to convince us that because of slavery, we're owed something. They love to tell us that because of Jim Crow laws, we're owed something. Do you not know that blacks did better under Jim Crow than we do right now as it relates to even our marriage rates? From the early 1900s all the way up to the 1960s, near about the death of MLK, the black marriage rate rivaled that of whites. But after the death of MLK, and when Lyndon B. Johnson brought in a new deal for a great society, it put the father out of the home and replaced dad with a $400 check. And this is where we get the welfare state. And so today, for the black community, government is God and government is daddy. And they're steadily convincing us to trust in the government for help and for our hope. But our hope is not in government, our hope is in God. And every 2 years, every 4 years, these same liars come around and convince us to trust them, put our hope in them, support them, give our funding towards them so that they can destroy us. See, race is an expensive bartering chip. If you want to marginalize a group of people, remind them of the past. But do it for the intent of disunity. Let me make this plain. I'm against white supremacy. And I'm also against black supremacy. But I'm all about God's supremacy. How about that? How about that? See, there's this new tool called critical race theory. Critical race theory is the Jim Crow era in reverse. Strategic people are now doing to whites what was once done to blacks, not at the same level, because whites were not, hung for going to school. Whites have never had to contend with going around the back door to get some water, or going around the back of the building just to get the same calorie busting and heart clogging hamburger as someone else. That happened in this country. Y'all remember that? Somebody say something. All right. That happened here. And now what people are seeking to do is, since it happened back then, let's bring vengeance towards whites. So since it happened in the past and it was right then, why isn't it right now? Some are saying. And we even see where critical race theory has slithered itself into the church. And now whites are suffering from white guilt in the name of I'm sorry for what happened in the era when I wasn't even born. But let me tell you something. I don't have any white friends who suffer from white guilt. Let me tell you why. If you suffer from white guilt, that's one of the fastest ways to be deleted from my phone. Because if you suffer from white guilt, that means I must suffer from black shame. And there's nothing shameful about what God did when he made me a black man. I'm not a black man trying to be a white man, trying to be an Asian, trying to be a Hispanic. I'm comfortable with what God did. And I should be able to say that I'm black and I'm proud, and you should be able to say the same, whatever race you are. Because I ain't changing what God did. I ain't Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson died trying to be something that he was not. Over there in Never Never Land, changed his color from black. He was as brown as me, but when he died, he was as white as my brother right here. Tried to change his color because he was ashamed of his color. Let me tell you something, this is not a shame. So there's no need for you to feel guilty because of who you are, because I'm not ashamed of this. I'm made in the image of God. I'm black, bold, and beautiful. I ain't ashamed of this. I don't look in the mirror and frown to myself and say, I wish God made me another way. The devil is a lie. I know who I am. I'm a chosen generation. I'm a royal priesthood. I'm a peculiar people. And I'm made in the image of God. I'm glad God made me the way that he did. And we need to stop listening to these lying race baiters who are convincing us that whites should be demonized and blacks are victims. I'm nobody's victim. I live in a home that's valued at nearly $1 million. My wife drives a Tahoe. I drive a Suburban. My children go to private Christian schools. All three of them. We live where we want to live. We eat what we want to eat. We drive what we want to drive. All here in America. And you're going to try to convince me to hate this nation, hate this flag, hate my color because someone that's white? I ain't giving no credit to Santa Claus. We buy the gifts. Me and her. And put them under the tree. Don't nobody slide down my chimney. If you sliding down, you're going to meet that AR-15. That Glock 357. You're going to meet that Glock 40 and that, my God, that Glock 380. That little small one. Because I'm a 1A and a 2A brother. Believe in our First Amendment rights, and I believe in the right to bear arms. And Jesus told us, he said, when he was getting ready to leave, he said, you know what? I told you before that you didn't need a weapon, but go sell what you have and get a sword. And in a day like today, we're going to need a sword to protect our families and to protect our homes. Somebody shout amen on that. Amen. I'm not ashamed of what God has done. And see, we allow these trivial things to cause us to have disunity and harmony to the point where critical race theory hurts the feelings of white kids, but it destroys the futures of blacks. Because in school, they are taught now the 1619 Project a lie. And they no longer want to talk about 1776. These are intentional tools to dumb down a generation. These are intentional tools to create this unity. But I'm not moved by it because I understand the lies of Satan.